Recently, when Harmonix was sold, and the statement made by John Drake on rockband.com stated that they still had more tricks up their sleeve. Is Jimi Hendrix one of them? We're going to talk about that in this episode of Cena's Corner.
Cena's Corner. World's #1 rhythm game reviewer.
What's up, everybody? Alright, so I don't know if this is still a blockbuster or you know about it, but if you don't, then consider this to be the exclusive. I have looked around for other channels such as like Rock Band Aid to see if they have anything to say about this, and I have seen nothing. And that is the fact of Jimi Hendrix and Rock Band. Now, I already know we have Jimi Hendrix songs in Rock Band 3 and in Rock Band 2 where it came from, but that's not what I'm speaking of. I'm talking a full-fledged Rock Band game surrounded by Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix will be in the game. It's all going to be Jimi Hendrix music. The whole thing. So another band game, kind of like the Beatles. Now, how did I come across all of this? Well, let me tell you that, and then I'll tell you what I think about Jimi Hendrix Rock Band. A couple months ago, I was watching his biography on the Biography channel called Jimi Hendrix Voodoo Child. If you are a Hendrix fan, if you've never seen this, you need to see this autobiography. It is done very well, mainly because it is in the own words of Jimi Hendrix. Bootsy Collins actually does do Jimi Hendrix's voice when they're not playing real footage of him, and it's about 2 hours long. Well, I got intrigued because at the very end of that, it had mentioned that Jimi Hendrix was one of the producers or something of the show, and I needed to know who Jimi Hendrix was. I've always heard of his brothers. I think his name is Leon, but it turns out that Jimi Hendrix is Jimi Hendrix's adopted sister. When his father remarried, the woman he married had a daughter. He adopted her as his own, took the name Hendrix, so Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix also went to court and battled his brother Leon for the rights to control the multi-million-dollar estate that is Jimi Hendrix, and now Experience Hendrix, which sells all of his music and things of that fashion. Because when Jimi Hendrix died, he died without a will. This is why it's very important to have a will. So, of course, upon his death, and then Jimi Hendrix's father died, Leon supposedly was a drug addict, so she took him to court and gained the right to run the estate of Jimi Hendrix. So, as I'm digging through the internet trying to find out who exactly she is, I came across an article that was talking about her giving the rights to Rock Band to use Jimi Hendrix music. Not a big surprise, right? We already knew that because we have a lot of Jimi Hendrix tracks already in the game of Rock Band. Harmonix already broke that. But I kept reading further down, and then it's where she started to slip a little bit. She had already slipped and said that there was a full-fledged Jimi Hendrix game that was going to be coming to Rock Band. It was they didn't give an exact title, but she led on to believe and led on to say that there's a Rock Band game surrounded by Jimi Hendrix. They've already struck a deal. The image and likeness of Jimi Hendrix will be in this game. Also, she was not sure if they would remake his original band members that he started out with, or what they were going to do. And I can't remember the album, but I'll post one of the articles I read at the bottom of this video. But she actually did make some references to the songs and the albums that she felt would be a part of this Jimi Hendrix Experience Rock Band game. The one thing that she did, which those of you watching me knows anything about the video game industry, is you never give a date until you know what's happening. So she messed around and said that the Jimi Hendrix game for Rock Band should have been or would be released by the end of 2010. Now, of course, when I read that, and I read this right around November or something, okay, I knew that was not going to be possible. Why was that? Well, because Harmonix already had a whole mess load of stuff on their plate. They had Rock Band 3, they had Dance Central, and then, of course, they had to deal with the fact now that they were getting sold by MTV. So there was no way I expected to have a brand new game from Harmonix released in December or right at the last day of 2010. My thought was, well, if this is going to be this big, why not save it for a bigger stage, a bigger audience, like in E3? Why not bring this out as a surprise? But if it was meant to be a surprise, Jimi Hendrix already let the surprise out the bag by saying this. Then, to make it all worse, Paul DeGuyer, who I think is like a CEO or some bigwig at MTV, also came right behind her and commented on how excited they are to have Jimi Hendrix in the family, so on and so forth. So that brings a couple of questions. First question that it brings to mind, obviously, is where does this all sit now, and is the deal still in place, being that Harmonix has been sold from MTV? For those of you guys who do not know, Harmonix was sold, but basically sold to themselves. So Harmonix, again, is independent, which in my honest opinion, I think that's where Harmonix shines. They get to call all their own shots. They get to bring us what they want to bring us, and they get to do their games the way they want to do their games. A couple of people had left Harmonix in the year 2010 because they cited that the company got too big, and they also cited that they wanted to be able to do more hands-on stuff that they were not allowed to do anymore. With them being independent now, maybe all that changes. So the first question is, since this deal supposedly was struck with Harmonix and MTV for Jimi Hendrix, what does that do to the overall deal now? Is Harmonix carrying the deal by themselves? Is this still going to come out? Was MTV nice enough to give all of the rights over that they had secured, if that's what you want to say about it? What? Because as we all know, you know, MTV and Harmonix ain't the best of friends right now. Because I think the day before, the day of, they were bought by themselves. They also launched a major lawsuit against Viacom MTV because they're stating millions of dollars that they never received in royalties from MTV. So that's the first question that unfortunately right now I can't answer. Because I'm sure even if I was to write the people that I know at Harmonix and say, can you tell me what's going to happen with this Hendrix deal, it's going to be hush-hush. Because from the way it looks, we should know about this anyways. That's question number one. So we can't answer that. Number two on my list is, will the community and will the public embrace a game that is solely built just on Jimi Hendrix and Jimi Hendrix's music? So let's look at Jimi Hendrix, the man, a little bit to answer that. Because we all know that he is the most prolific African-American rock guitarist that there ever was and that ever lived. Now, Jimi Hendrix doesn't like to be looked upon at that, in his own words. He feels that music is just music and music has no color, and he just wanted to be known as somebody who was able to make music that impacted people's lives. Not that he was the black man who did it, but just someone who loved music. So we're going to embrace Jimi, and we're going to just call Jimi that. Jimi was a man who was good at what he did and embraced people's lives, but does his music really have that huge of an audience? Not to place the race card, but we do know that he does stick out really well with African Americans. It's kind of like Tiger Woods in golf. Okay, a lot of black people never watched golf until Tiger Woods stepped on the green and he became who he was. Not that he's 100% black, because he's black and he's Japanese, but still he had color in his skin, so everybody came. Okay, but I want to know against the whole entire grain of music. No matter what color you are, no matter what you listen to, is Jimi Hendrix enough to draw you in to buy a brand new game? The other question is if that is the case, what would sales be like? Okay, the Beatles, in my opinion, did as well as it did because there's hundreds upon thousands of Beatles fans that is out there. But let's face the fact on that. Beatles came out, we got a couple DLCs, Beatles is done. Okay, I'll say it to you right here, just so I don't have to make a separate video. Don't look for any more Beatles DLC. I frankly believe that Beatles DLC is done, and I think that that should have been clear, if not crystal clear, when we got John Lennon Imagine and Rock Band 3. Then they turned around and they released a whole entire John Lennon Imagine album. Then they turned around and gave us some Paul McCartney and Wings and Rock Band 3. All of this stuff could have been utilized and used for Beatles Rock Band. I just personally feel, I'm not speaking for Harmonix and anybody, I'm just going to say what I believe, that ship is sailed. What we have for Beatles is what we have. That's it. No more. That's it. Okay? So, back on to Jimi now. So, does he have what it takes to bring a whole audience, and what would the sales be like? To answer that question, I'm going to say this. Yeah, I do, for this reason. Everybody complained that Rock Band 3 was so easy, and that there's never any challenging songs. They kind of answered that to you in Rock Band 3 when they gave you songs like Beast and the Harlot and so on and so forth. And now people's finding out the little surprises that Harmonix threw in there to kind of help you progress to the next level of plastic guitarmanship, which is they're throwing in orange notes on the medium chart. Your hard chart has more notes now, and it's a little bit harder than what Rock Band 2 and Rock Band 1 was. So they're trying to progress you. If you want some hard guitar songs that's going to be challenging, I don't think you can look any further than Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix was a master guitarist at what he did. I don't think there's a whole lot of people out there that can actually beat him. And I'm talking about even current guitarists that's on the market today that is very, very good at what they do. I still think if Jimi Hendrix was here right now in 2011 and went up against some of the most prolific guitarists you can think of, that at this day and time, he still would probably wipe the floor with them. So, and a lot of these guitars that you probably thinking of right now actually do look up to Jimi Hendrix, and Jimi Hendrix is one of their influences. So I think if you want hard guitar songs, then this should be a #1 bestseller for you. You should be embracing Jimi Hendrix stuff, because I haven't heard anything more harder than what his stuff is that he can throw out. The one thing I think Harmonix can do if this game does come to, to light, and we actually do get a Jimi Hendrix rock band or Jimi Hendrix experience or whatever they want to call it, this is what I think the #1 marketing ploy that they should use to sell a ton of copies. Here it is. Jimi Hendrix was a left-handed guitarist. In all of these rhythm games that we have, we never have had a left-handed guitar that was built specifically just for left-handed people. So, Guitar Hero 1 through 6, Rock Band 1 through 3, every time a guitar is released, it was for us right-handed folk. If you want to sell a lot of these, I say you have a Fender, which Fender is on board in this game according to this article, okay? You have Fender build a left-handed replica of one of whatever Jimi Hendrix's favorite guitars were. I know that he did have a black Fender he loved to death. So you do that in a replica for left-handed people. And you sell that packaged, first of all, with the game. Don't sell it individually at first. Sell it packaged with the game. Okay? So you need to have like a Jimi Hendrix guitar bundle. For the left-handed folk, I would say go ahead and have a Jimi Hendrix guitar bundle for the right-handed people. And then I would say just have the game individually by itself. I frankly believe, and I could be wrong, and you can tell me if you disagree, but in just my belief, since there are so many left-handed people out there that's been hungry for a left-handed guitar, I think you can make a Wham game and put a left-handed guitar to it, and somebody's going to go out and buy the Wham game just to get their hands on the left-handed guitar, whether they keep the game or not, or even try it out. But in that case, it doesn't matter because your sales number for that game just went up. What are they going to do with the game? They're going to turn around and sell it on eBay, or they can go trade it back into GameStop, which doesn't really even go against your numbers at all. So that's what I think should happen. I think that they should build a left-handed guitar for all of my left-handed friends out there, and I think that's going to be one of the #1 sellers. There's no better time to do it than if you're going to release a game surrounded by a left-handed musician. Okay? So, overall, do I think another band game is going to work? When it comes to Harmonix, I really think that it can. I think that Harmonix knows how to build a band game, and I think that was shown with the Beatles. I think out of all the band games that has come out, that the Beatles was the best one, followed by Green Day Rock Band. I think the reason being is because they understood that it was a band game that was centered around a band, not around a band and special guests. Now, I'm not knocking Activision for that or anything like that. Maybe you guys like that. But then they should have said this is going to be a band game, but it's going to be like a concert experience. But it still is broken down even worse than that, because of the concert experience, you have what? You have the band A will come out open for you. Then you got band B, which is supposed to be better than band A because you're the band. that's right before the band you came to see, and then your band will come out that you paid the money to actually come see, and they close the show out. So you get 14, 15, 20, 30, whatever song times allow from that band, and then they're done. And the band games with special guests, it wasn't that way. Like, you may play 3, 4 Metallica songs, and then after that, that's going to jump right into like Aerosmith and Killswitch Engage and about 5 or 6 other people. And then after they're done, then Metallica comes back on stage, they give you another 3, 4 songs, then they disappear again, and you got special guests. With the Harmonix bands, it wasn't like that. It was Beatles, 100%. It was Green Day, 100%. So you knew what you were going to be playing. They built the game around these particular bands. So all of your challenges and your concert experiences had something to do with that band itself. We got a whole entire like book and pictures and everything from the Beatles, and we got to walk through like a concert type setting with Green Day and unlock some very special pictures and so on and so forth with them. So if it's Harmonix doing this game, I say there's a fair chance that it is going to succeed. But overall, for something like this to succeed, you have to have open-minded people. In other words, you got to have people that's just not hooked on metal or R&B or rap or soul, because Jimi Hendrix really embraced all of those. So if you ever want to sit there and go, I don't like Jimi Hendrix because he don't play my genre of music, I beg to differ with you, because that's what he did. He was the one artist that infused all of that. He took jazz and infused it with rock. He took hip-hop and infused it with jazz. Listen to his stuff. He took heavy metal and infused it with R&B. Okay, so Jimi Hendrix played all genres of music, from rock to heavy metal to pop to country soul to hip-hop to R&B to blues to jazz. If you listen to all of the stuff the man has ever done, you will hear each of those genres I just named in his music, which means that the genres we have today, Jimi Hendrix was already doing them before they even was here. Before I was born, before you was born, a lot of you watching this was born, he was already doing it. So he's the mastermind behind that. So what do you guys think of a Jimi Hendrix game? Would you guys go out and buy a Jimi Hendrix game if there was one out? If you don't like Jimi Hendrix, would you give it a shot? If you're a left-handed person, would the value of the game go up significantly if Harmonix took my advice and decided to give you a left-handed guitar? That you finally can have one that's for you. Let me know down below. If you haven't heard this before, like I said, I'll leave a link to one of the many articles that's written about it in the info for this video. But I'm kind of excited. This is, I have friends that do not like band games. And when I discussed with them and said, hey, I haven't seen anybody talk about it, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about it a little bit. Jimi Hendrix may be having his own rock band game. They were like, I don't like band games, but I'll go out and buy this one. There's got to be something about Jimi Hendrix that would make you want to buy his band game when you're 100% against band games and didn't buy any band games that's actually on the market. So what do you guys think? Let me know down here in the comments what you think about that. Do you think Harmonix is on the right track? Do you think they're on the wrong track? Do you think they should just stick to the Rock Band 3 formula what they're doing? Because let's face it, folks, we're about 2 years away as far as I'm concerned, in my opinion, before we even see a Rock Band 4. And going off what Elfie said, we're probably just a few months away from hearing an announcement of Dance Central 2. I do expect to see something on Dance Central 2, probably E3 time, as well, that if this Jimi Hendrix game is actually coming to fruition, then I expect to see something about it as well at E3. Maybe these are the next 2 steps that Harmonix has in their repertoire, or as John Drake says, the things that they still have up their sleeve. And to me, that's a hell of a statement, because I'm sitting back as a consumer and a video game reviewer of rhythm games saying, what the heck else can Harmonix come up with? They revolutionized, as far as I'm concerned, they've completely revolutionized what we know as rhythm gaming. They've given us more stuff in the rhythm game than any other rhythm game that has ever existed has given us. And John Drake still says, oh, but wait, there's more. All right, guys, so that's about it. You guys know how to get a hold of me. Cena at CenasCorner.com. Facebook, if you want to look at me over there, is just Cena's Corner. Facebook, folks, on Cena's Corner. Also, Twitter, Cena5401. And my website, cenascorner.com. So guys, that's it for me. Till next time, I say peace, love, keep rocking out, and we're going to catch you guys the next time.